Who has the better quarterback, Rodgers or Brady?
The better quarterback is Aaron Rodgers. The more accomplished quarterback, the quarterback that has had the best career is Tom Brady. And you can make the case that Tom Brady has had the best NFL career of any player, regardless of position. Skip, but for me, Aaron Rodgers can do things, throwing the football, that only Tom Brady can dream of doing. There's not a throw that Tom Brady can make that Aaron Rodgers can't make. There are several throws that Aaron Rodgers can make that, as I said before, Tom Brady can only dream of making. And prior to seeing Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers was the most gifted thrower of the football that I'd ever laid eyes on. And I was in the era of smack dab. And I remember Dan Marino, played with Dan Marino in a couple of Super Bowls. But Aaron Rodgers was the most gifted thrower of the football that I had ever seen. And his ability to throw the ball from different arm angles, from different platforms, rolling left, rolling right, and throw with accuracy is what set him apart from any other quarterback that we had ever seen. Now, when it's all said and done, hey, Skip, maybe in 10 years from now, you and I have a conversation. It's going to be about Patrick Mahomes and where he ranks in the pantheon of great quarterbacks. But for this discussion, Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady, I don't think it's no doubt in anyone's mind that Rodgers is the more gifted of the quarterbacks. He's the more talented of the quarterbacks. He's more mobile. He's more accurate. And so when you look at this, Skip, Aaron Rodgers had a better completion percentage, yards per attempt, passer rating. He has a lower interception rate, and he has a higher TD to touchdown interception ratio. So when you look at it in that context, it's hard for me to say that Tom Brady is better. Now, has Tom Brady won more? Yes. Is Tom Brady more accomplished? Yes. Has Tom Brady had the better career? Yes. He's also had Coach Belichick for 20 seasons. But let's just take the first 5 weeks of the season. And everybody knows at home, you've been watching, and you see how bad the Cowboys' defense is. Aaron Rodgers' playoff defenses in his career has been worse than the Dallas Cowboys are this year. In 6 of his 8 playoff losses, they've given up at least 37 points. That's only happened to Brady twice in 41 games, and Tom Brady lost both of those. Rodgers, top 5 scoring defense. He had that one time, Skip, and he won the Super Bowl in 2010. Top 5 scoring defenses for Tom Brady. He's had 8 of those. Top 10 scoring defenses. In 16 of his 20 years under Coach Belichick, he's had a top 10 defense. Aaron Rodgers had 3 of those. One top 5, and 3 top 10 defenses for Aaron Rodgers. So for me, Skip, I don't really think it's close. As far as talent, as far as throwing the football, as far as the better of the quarterbacks, and you say, Shannon, I'm gonna give you get one game to win tomorrow, or Sunday, or Monday, or Tuesday. How it goes, Skip? We might be playing football on Wednesday night. Give me Aaron Rodgers right now, anytime.
You realize you just outdid even yourself on this show. In the history of this show, you have never uttered more foolishness than you just uttered.
I gave him a compliment.
Jeff George could make throws that Tom Brady never dreamed of making. You remember Jeff George?
I do remember
the
Jeff
knucklehead
George.
That was Jeff George, and he won what? Okay. Kyle, I should have been a bowler, could make throws Tom Brady never dreamed of making. When they worked out, Kyle, I should have been a bowler at Cal. He kneeled at the 50-yard line and threw it over the goalpost. And everybody said, oh, my God, it's the second coming of whoever. You know, like this is going to be the greatest thing that ever happened.
Right.
It was like he was going to be my homeboy.
Yeah.
Wrong, wrong, wrong. The greatest thrower of the football, especially under pressure when it really mattered, is Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr., and it's not even close. And for you to dare to try to make the case, the argument that Aaron Rodgers is somehow better than Tom Brady, it's way more far-fetched than your LeBron over Jordan argument. Because obviously, your man, Aaron Rodgers, barely made it to one Super Bowl.
Barely?
Barely, because in the championship game at Chicago, remember what he did?
Yes.
He was up against, in the second half, Caleb Haney. The immortal Caleb Haney took over for Jay Cutler because my Vanderbilt man, Jay Cutler, wound up with a sprained knee on the exercise bike during the second half on the sideline. Caleb Haney took over, and Aaron Rodgers survived that game. That's the only conference championship game he has won. He is 1-3 in conference championship games. And in that game, he threw no touchdowns and 2 big interceptions, one of them to Brian Urlacher that nearly tilted the game in the Bears' favor. And they survived 21-14 in that game. So he got to one long ago Super Bowl 10 years ago, and he did win that one, while Tom Brady has made it to 9 Super Bowls with a record of 9-4 in championship games, which is just extraordinary. That's 13 championship games. And the 6 that he won, every one of them was won with a game-winning drive in the fourth quarter or overtime. You want to talk about off the charts? You want to talk about legendary? You want to talk about impossible? That's impossible. And I have made the case. I'm the biggest Michael Jordan fan on the planet. But when it comes to clutch play in the biggest moments on the biggest stage in your sport, Brady has actually eclipsed Jordan as an overall clutch player, the most consistent clutch player we've ever seen in any sport, because he's had so many more opportunities than Jordan had in NBA Finals. Because 9 Super Bowls, and I'm going to make the case, he won 6, but he should have won 7, because that first Eli Super Bowl, Tom Brady did what he always does in Super Bowl games. He drove them 75 yards in 12 plays, and with 2 minutes left, he hit Randy Moss with what I thought was the game-winning touchdown. That put them up 14-10. And Bill Belichick's defense allowed Eli freaking Manning, to drive it 83 yards in 12 plays to pull off a shocking upset, 17-14. And by the way, Tom Brady should have actually won an 8th Super Bowl, because against the Philadelphia Eagles, Tom Brady threw for a playoff record, still stands 505 yards, and piled up 33 points. And Bill Belichick still gets a pass to this day for allowing a Nick Foles that you have little to no respect for, the backup quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles, to hang 41 on his defense, 41 points, in part because he benched the defensive player who had played the most snaps in the regular season, Malcolm Butler, who, by the way, had 2 interceptions on Tuesday Night Football, and he got away with it. Belichick benched him for no explicable reason. It's a complete mystery, and they allowed 41, and you're giving me all this crap about Aaron Rodgers' defenses? Are you kidding me? Tom Brady should have 8 rings. 8!
Skip, can I ask you a question? Why is it the Super Bowls that he lost, you say he should have won, but there are 3 or 4 Super Bowls that he won that he could have lost? But you never do that.
I know, but
lost to Seattle.
But he won them.
Okay, so he lost those.
Okay, thank you for bringing that up.
Thank you.
He was down 24-14 going to the fourth quarter against the Legion of Boom. And in the fourth quarter, Tom Brady threw for 124 yards and 2 touchdowns and won it.
But Skip, you can't say in the Super Bowls that he lost, he should have won, without saying the ones he won, he could have lost. You can't have it just one way. He should be 8. No, he should be 8-1. No, he could have easily been 3-5. He could have easily been 2-6.
Show me one where he stunk it up. Show me one where he had a bad fourth quarter. Show me one, because you can't.
Skip, the fourth quarter is not there. 3 other quarters. What about Atlanta? What about Atlanta? They could jump out 28-3, and Coach Belichick's defense doesn't give up another point.
What
about that?
Thank you for bringing that up. In the fourth quarter, 246 yards. Think about that.
So you're going to give
246 yards?
Coach Belichick's defense any credit.
Aaron Rodgers never dreamed of that kind of a performance.
So you're not going to give Coach Belichick's defense any credit for pitching a shutout the last 30-plus minutes of the ball game.
I'm glad you brought that up also, because Tom has benefited from some very good defenses and some pretty good defenses, but let me ask you this. Has Tom Brady ever had your 2000 Ravens Ray Lewis defense? Has he ever had that?
Skip. What great
No, seriously.
Let me ask you a question. What historic quarterback has ever had the 85 Bears or the 2000 Ravens or the 02 Bucks? What historically great quarterback?
Or the Steel Curtain Steelers or the Doomsday Dallas defenses.
What quarterback?
Roger Staubach, you can argue he had that, and Terry Bradshaw had the steel curtain, okay? They did.
Maybe, but I think when we look at great quarterbacks, it's a two-man race. We're looking at Montana, Skip. We're looking at Brady, and maybe a handful of others. But historic defenses don't go with great quarterbacks.
And thank you for bringing up Joe Montana, because you can make a case against Joe, because to me, the greatest coach ever was the great Bill Walsh. God bless him. I was very close with him. He invented a system called the West Coast offense that you can argue really benefited Joe, that he was doing something and benefiting from a system that was revolutionary, that this league had never seen, that still operates, that has tentacles all over this league. Tom Brady created his own system in New England because Bill Belichick is all defense all the time.
Yes.
He's not an offensive coach. So Brady obviously benefited early from Charlie Weiss, and then you can argue Bill O'Brien or Josh McDaniels, but basically he invented his own system in New England.
I think when you look at Coach Belichick from a defensive perspective, he can tell Tom and he can tell the offensive coordinators, this is where I'm vulnerable. This is where I'm weak. This is what a defense is thinking in this down and distance, in this area of the field. And when I see you line up in this formation, this is what I'm thinking. So the best counter. So obviously, this is why he's so. If you look at Peyton Manning, what has he always had? Defensive-minded head coaches, because he's thinking, I need to know what are you thinking in this down and distance, in this area of the field, with 1 minute left in the ball game. What would you do to me? So Coach Belichick can parlay that to Tom Brady. Skip, but to say in 20 years, Tom Brady has had 16 top 10 defenses. Aaron Rodgers in 14 years have only had 3. Tom Brady has had 8 top 5 scoring defenses. Aaron Rodgers has had 1. And you say that doesn't make a difference?
Has his defense, Tom Brady's defense, over the 20 years in New England, 19 in New England, was it star-studded with future Hall of Famers?
But
help me out.
No,
help me out.
No. Ty Law's in the Hall of Fame.
By the way, Ty Law, it took 5 times. It took 5 ballots, but he belongs. Love him. But Tom had him for the first 4 of those years in New England. Okay.
I believe Richard Seymour is going to get in, and I believe Darrelle Revis is going to get in. Now, he only had Revis, 1 year, 2 years maybe? I think 1 year.
Okay. He also had Junior Seau at the very end of Seau's run, and he's obviously.
But Seau was already made. So we're going to,
All right. Got it. So the point is that if you look at Aaron, since his 1 Super Bowl 10 years ago, he's 6-7 in the postseason. Well, that's not great.
Right.
So 6-7, and by the way, Tom Brady in the postseason is 30-11, and so Aaron overall with that Super Bowl run of 4 straight as a wild card road team, that got him to 10-8 in the postseason. So Brady has 20 more playoff wins and only 3 more playoff losses. And again, I focus on Aaron Rodgers 1 and 3 in NFC championship games. And if you look at his QBR in those 4 losses, you can argue all you want about how good or bad the defense was. But he was ordinary in those 4 games. His QBR was 58 average in those 4 games, which is just barely above average. So help me out. How can you even get close to making a case that he's had a better career or is a better all-around quarterback, or that you 1 game for your life, you're picking Aaron Rodgers? Look at, these are 1 games for his future, his legacy life, and he's 1 and 3 in those NFC championship games.
You're over there crying about Coach Belichick's defense giving up 41 points in the Super Bowl. But Aaron Rodgers was on a team that defense gave up 51. He was in a game that gave up 45 to Colin Kaepernick and the 49ers. They gave up 44 to Matt Ryan. They just gave up 37 last year. You remember you talking about how fluky Eli was? When Eli went to Lambeau Field in the cold and dropped 37 on him. In the 6 of his 8 losses, they're giving up 37 or more. In 8 of his losses, they're average giving up 36 points a game, which is worse than what the Dallas Cowboys, and everybody knows how bad the Cowboys are. So can you imagine in a playoff game, you already know they're going to give up 4 touchdowns. They're going to give up 5 tubs. You already know that going in. Tom Brady never had that to worry about, because when he did, he caught L's. He caught L's. Anytime they gave up 30-plus, they dropped that L on his head.
What do you always tell me about Dak Prescott? When they fall woefully behind, you say, well, he had the ball several times. He could have done something with it. I'd say the same thing about Aaron Rodgers.
Skip. He lost 45-51. He lost 45-51.
Yeah, Tom Brady lost 41-33 in a Super Bowl.
So he had the ball, but hold on.
Yeah, that was some first-round game against Arizona.
The ball was in his hand, right? The ball was in Tom's hand.
Yeah.
See, Skip, the thing what you fail to do is that, hold on, now he yelling and screaming at Tampa because guys jumping off sides. So if Coach Belichick don't matter, why he yelling and screaming at folks? Why he in everybody's face? Oh, because that does matter. Coaching matters. Oh, wow. Who knew coaching matters? You always try to minimize Tom when things, see, what you do is you maximize him when things go well. But what you do is you minimize.
When things go well, they've gone better than anybody's ever thought about going.
I understand that. But what you try to do is minimize Coach Belichick's role in this. When things go bad, it's Coach Belichick's fault. You won't say Tom Brady fumbled a football. You won't say that Tom Brady missed some throws early in that Philly game that could have tilted the balance. That's not what you do. All you talk about.
He threw for an all-time playoff record, 505.
He should have threw for 600.
Oh, stop.
He should have threw for 600.
By the way, that was a top 5 Eagles defense that year.
And it had Gronk wide, overthrew Gronk, and he dropped the tub. What about that tub he dropped? I bet Aaron Rodgers wouldn't have dropped it.
Yeah.
We saw Dak. We saw Dak catch it. We saw the Philly special.
Speaking of Aaron Rodgers, who is 6-7 in the playoffs since that long ago Super Bowl, if you look at his 6 wins, how lucky were a bunch of his wins? He got to play Joe Webb, a receiver, starting at quarterback. He got to play Kirk Cousins when he was still in Washington. He was just a basket case, especially in big games. And then how about the Dez game? What a great escape that was for Aaron Rodgers because the referee at the goal line is throwing his arms up.
It wasn't
It's 6 because Dez caught it and scored with it. He ran with it and slammed it on the goal line. You had what a great escape. How lucky were you that Odell Beckham took his receivers to South Beach to hang out on a yacht to get ready for a game up on the frozen tundra, a playoff game.
How is that Aaron Rodgers' fault?
Because they come up and Odell drops 2 in the first quarter and they're done psychologically.
Skip.
Okay, how lucky is that?
You see what you did? Now you blame Aaron Rodgers for something somebody else done, just like you blame the Lakers for the Clippers not wanting to be there or them gagging their opportunity. You can't blame the opposing team.
How lucky was Aaron Rodgers at Jerry World against a rookie named Dak Prescott when it took 2 intergalactic field goals by Mason Crossbar of 56 and 51 yards, hand of God field goals that I thought had no chance off his foot of making it over the crossbar, and they did.
So let me ask you a question. So how lucky was Tom Brady to have to face Phillip Rivers with a torn ACL in the AFC Championship game? Was he lucky?
I thought he played his guts out.
Skip, the man was on a torn ACL. So why don't they ever? So if you got a torn ACL,
remember how great he was on his torn ACL at Indy?
No, he came out and they put Billy Bolick in.
Yeah,
they put.
But
Billy
I thought
Bolick.
he was extraordinary in that game.
Skip, don't do that. You see what you did? You just did that. What now?
I just did what I should have done.
No, you should not have.
Because there's no way you can make this case.
Skip,
I'm embarrassed.
Skip, 2 things. Why can't you see that 2 things can be true? That Tom Brady's had the greatest career, he's the greatest winner, but Aaron Rodgers is a better player. Why can't those things be true?
One game for my life, I want the Michael Jordan of pro football. I want Thomas Brady. I'm Thomas Brady because he doesn't act the part which you can't stand. I give you this. He is cliched and lame and corny and nerdy on social media, but he is Psycho Tom with the ball in his hand and the game on the line. The biggest game, if it's for my life, I want Brady.
Skip, I want Aaron Rodgers because I know he can throw the ball rolling left, rolling right. He got legs. He can scramble and get me a first down. Your guy's not going anywhere. And your guy's not throwing from different arm platforms, and he's not throwing outside of the pocket.
He throws the sweetest, most accurate, most catchable football you've ever seen.
That's not what the numbers say. The completion percentage favors Aaron Rodgers. Yards per attempt, passer rating, touchdown to interception ratio. The man has 377 touchdowns to 84 interceptions.
How does he do when the heat's on?
He does great.
Oh, does he?
Great.
Yeah.
I just wish, the question is, let me ask you this, Skip. If a guy has these numbers, which are better than Tom Brady's, had Coach Belichick for 20 years, does he have less than 5-6 Super Bowls?
How would that diva, Aaron Rodgers, have stomached Bill Belichick? How long would he have lasted? 15 minutes?
Coach Belichick would have had no problem because he knows I ain't got to hold a 10 to 2 points because you got to realize, Skip, you do realize like early in his career, it was all defense. Tom Brady was handing the ball off. You make it seem like the Tom Brady that we see now was always that.
In that first Super Bowl, I remember John Madden up in the TV booth saying, they got to shut it down. They got this first-year starter, this
throwing
kid.
swing passes. He wasn't throwing the ball down the field.
Yeah,
Stop
he did.
this. No, he didn't.
Yes, he did. He threw to Troy Brown. He threw him a 15-yard pass. He just completed 5 straight passes to get them in field goal range.
He threw to Wiggins, the tight end. He threw to the J.R.
They
Redmond
weren't
out of the
swing
backfield.
passes. They weren't swing passes.
Yeah, a little check down. Stop it, Skip. You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
Vice versa.
You ought to be ashamed of yourself. But guess what? Aaron Rodgers gonna put something on you. You just make sure you have it lined up tomorrow.
Yeah, my guy's 43.
What they got to do with anything?
Yeah.
What they got to do with anything?
Well, you keep talking about LeBron James had a 17th year nobody's ever had.
Nobody's ever had a year like that.
Yeah.
Finals MVP.
Well, at age 43, Tom Brady was just the NFC Offensive Player of the Week. That's all I know.
How many times has LeBron won that? LeBron got so many of those, they're going to rename the award after him.
Really?
Yes.
Well, then let's talk about LeBron, shall we?
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.